Of MMA Productions. Today we're going to be going over my predictions for UFC Fight Night Gucci versus Kape. It's honestly really cool card on paper. A lot of interesting prospects, fun fighters. I imagine there'll be a lot of finishes here, but we'll see. Starting off with Shane Collins versus Otari Vanzilovi. Both, I believe, making their UFC debuts. Similar height and reach. Both pretty young fighters fighting out of Orthodox. High finish rates for both of them. In the footage I watched, Shane Collins, good clinch work, good ground transitions. In one of his fights, he got a really nasty ghillie, transition like that, really quickly. The guy couldn't even really react. He's good at going in and out, kind of getting in and out of range and hitting and then leaving range. And he mixes really well to the head on body is one thing I noticed with him. Otari fought a little bit higher level competition than Shane Collins. A few more fights under his belt. He's fighting up, I'm pretty sure, from bantamweight, which will be interesting. He's a Georgian guy. He's got Merab in his corner, and he trains and spars with Merab, and supposedly can take down Merab, so that's going to be interesting to see how that goes for him. Also really good at getting in and out of range. Much better, I would say, at mixing in kicks than Shane Collins. He's got some whippy kicks, man, in his striking. They're quick. Really good at throwing punches while he's moving. His Musasa loss aged kind of but you could almost argue that he lost that fight, if I'm being honest. And he recovered really well, and he handles pressure really well. Musasa was throwing some mean hooks at him against the cage, and he didn't fold, he didn't panic or anything. So I'm going to take Otari. I think he's going to just kind of 30-27 this guy, kick him from range, just outdo him, outwork him. I think it'll be an entertaining fight, but I think Otari is going to take it home. Moving on to our next fight, we have Carol Rosa versus Luana Santos. Rosa, high volume, especially with leg kicks. I have my notes here that Joe Rogan's going to have a rogasm seeing all those calf kicks stack up. Solid takedown defense. She kind of doesn't have really good striking defense, though, and I could see a world where she just gets decisioned because she just gets out-jabbed, out-worked, because she's not really blocking anything. Her clinch and grappling is not that good. Meanwhile, Luana Santos, she lost to Casey O'Neill. That's one of her losses. That hasn't aged bad very well. Solid judo background, really good transitions and control. I think this is just going to be a classic women's MMA 29-28 for Luana Santos. I think she's going to out-grapple her, maybe grab a submission late into the second round or something. I don't really care about this fight, if I'm being honest. A lot of these people that are making their debuts, or sorry to say it, WMMA, it's kind of hard to watch footage for, if I'm being honest. But, yeah. I mean, this fight shouldn't be that bad. Carol Rosa at least has high output. Getting on our next fight, we have Leon Shabaznian versus Levon Chokeli. Man, when I looked at Shabaznian's record, I kind of laughed. Not in he's good. He's clearly an elite grappler and stuff, but it's just funny with the fact that all four of his losses are by knockout, and he seems like a submission warrior. I mean, it's cool that he's never seen decision. That's exciting and everything. Striking is whatever on him, but he cinches up submissions really quickly. He can knock people down and then just get on a sub from that. Good range, nasty from bottom, and he'll be threatening a lot of submissions if people try to take him down. Levon, that's a rough 29. I don't know what happened to bro to look like that at only 29 years old. His most recent loss is his KO loss, but wow, I'm just realizing just now I didn't put his gym now. Most recent loss is a 1 KO loss. I don't think that matters much considering he's generally fought pretty good competition. Solid takedowns and judo throws, good kick game, good pressure and reversal from takedowns, and he's pretty active from the top. I think Levon's just going to win this by KO in the second round. But if he decides to mix in the grappling, I could see him getting gillied or triangled or something. So as long as he doesn't go for a takedown or get rocked and then mounted or anything, I think probably going to see a Levon Chokeli just beating up Leon Shabaznian and probably TKO in the second round if I had to guess. Into our next fight, we have Gaston Bolanos versus Michael Aswell Jr. Bolanos' record made me do a second double take. 8-5 in the UFC is crazy. Like I understand not everyone in the UFC can be a winner. Don't get it twisted. But man, a record like that's weird. You know, it's not like these guys who it's like they're late in their career. They started off almost undefeated and then they just fought like the best of the best. I mean, 2-2 in the. Although he is 2-2 in the UFC, which isn't bad. That Marcus McGee loss definitely isn't bad. His defense is okay. Striking's pretty good. Definitely a solid kickboxer. Michael Aswell Jr. Again, I hate to say it, that's a rough 25. That's like a near future for me. I don't know if I'm tweaking on that, but yikes. 1-2 in the UFC, but his losses aren't bad at all. I'm gonna double check those as I pull them up. He's got solid striking. He's actually pretty entertaining overall. Solid striking. Grappling is kind of whatever. I can't find his topology for some reason. Yeah, but, 6-0 in the KO ratio for Aswell Jr. Definitely more of a striker than a grappler. Although he has solid enough grappling defense to make it through most of what, Gaston Bolanos probably won't throw any kind of grappling at him anyway. I think Michael Aswell is going to win this by a TKO. I think it's going to be pretty one-sided. Bolanos might struggle, but I think Aswell Jr. is just going to take it home pretty comfortably. Up next, we got Mitch Raposo versus Alan Nascimento. I didn't even need to watch film because this is one of those fights where I just remember how much Mitch Raposo pissed me off in his fight with Suma Duerji. Just circling him at range against a guy that has so much more reach than he does, getting jabbed up, doing absolutely nothing, lost the fight. I just don't even know what he was doing. His Andre Lima loss is pretty good, especially because it was a split decision. That aged very well. It's probably going to age better, as we'll see later on in the card. Alan Nascimento, crazy size advantage, and he's a fantastic grappler. I imagine he's just going to win this by doing kind of what Suma Duerji did, tagging him up at range, maybe eventually get taken down or reverse a takedown or take Raposo down and just get a submission from there probably. Other than that, he might just win through control time. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll see. Up next, we got Bia Mesquita versus Melissa Mullins. Not too much thought behind this one. Bia Mesquita is so much more physical looking and has so much more physicality than Melissa Mullins. She's kind of like Kayla Harrison, and that's why I'm always going to bet in favor of Kayla Harrison. Not bet, but, probably my pick will always be Kayla Harrison besides against like an Amanda Nunes. But yeah, really good grappler, really strong. I mean, it's like, again, I've said it about Kayla Harrison highlights when I'm talking to people about it. Just like watching what she does to women outside the UFC was, oof. On a side note, I feel like women in the LFA are like so much more entertaining and like scary than the women in the UFC. That's where like Kayla Harrison and Bia Mesquita come from. And Kayla Harrison has losses in LFA. I'd love to see more of those women come over. I mean, we'd probably have to reinstate women's featherweight, but I think the heavier weight classes for women would be much more entertaining than the lighter ones. I think we'd see more highlights, a bit more physicality and stuff. I think would be entertaining. Melissa Mullins been doing a lot of grappling matches lately. Lost 2 of them, won 1 of them. I'm not going to overthink this. I think Bia Mesquita is just going to completely out physicality Melissa Mullins and take her down, beat her up on the ground a bit, and end it from there. Probably round 2 TKO or submission, if I had to guess. Probably a submission, I'll go with. Up next, we got Andre Lima versus Kevin Borjas. And, man, I'm not going to say Kevin Borjas' nickname, but they seem to hate Kevin Borjas. He has had rough matchmaking, and he's done pretty well in a lot of those fights. Hasn't necessarily he's got beaten pretty bad in them, but considering who he's fighting, it's not like been the worst performances. UFC debut is against Joshua Van. Joshua Van hit this man with like a million body shots. He's got a high guard, but he seems to definitely be a victim to body shots. Next fight after that was Alessandro Costa. Yikes. Ronaldo Rodriguez was the last win. That's not a bad win to have. Next fight was against Suma Dwerji. Suma Dwerji is not necessarily the best. He's not an Alessandro Costa or Joshua Van, but he's a solid fighter. He's a weird fighter to go against. And then his most recent loss was against Imanol Rodriguez. He actually dropped Rodriguez really badly in their fight, and then just sold the finish, and then eventually got finished back. I don't know how he messed that up. I'm obviously not a fighter, but that's more, I guess, a credit to Imanol Rodriguez than it is Kevin Borjas' inability to finish. But he just kind of got gassed in that fight. He seems to get gassed a lot. Yeah, but that body shot is really definitely there, and especially for a guy like Imanol Rodriguez, who is a very good prospect. If you guys don't know, this is the I got effing bit guy. He's got that tattoo on his arm because in one of his fights, he just got ripped into bad. The guy got cut. It was, I'll try to put an image up of it. But, yeah, really solid kicks. He takes shots well. He moves with shots. Really fast striker, a lot of range, mean ground and pound with some solid grappling ability. Although he's more, obviously, of a TKO guy. Wow, I messed up those stats for Andre Lima really bad on this. Whatever. But, yeah, he's a really solid fighter. I think he's a really interesting prospect, honestly. I'm interested to see where he goes. He's got really good finishing instinct. He's big for a flyweight. I think he's probably going to finish Kevin Borjas in the second round, mixing it up to the body, and then just wearing him down over time. That's why I think second round KO probably. Up next, we have Vinicius Oliveira versus Andre Fili. This is Vinicius Oliveira's flyweight debut after getting absolutely manhandled by Mario Bautista in his first real fight at bantamweight. I'm going to take him. I do see a world where he loses to Andre Fili, that crafty vet stuff. If he loses this, he was never that good. He's got good power. I could see him hurting Andre Fili, which is why I'm going with him. I think Andre Fili is just a bit older, been through a lot of wars, despite being, I think, the better fighter in terms of skill set and roundedness. He was just a frame merchant at bantamweight. I think his powerlifting just killed him. I think, I'm not one of those effective muscle versus ineffective muscle guys, but I think that just wasn't good for an MMA base, especially the fact that he still does it. His big highlights are in fights where he's kind of doing lackluster. And this fight, and looking at Oliveira's record, made me realize that I do not care what they did outside of the UFC. I mean, unless it was at maybe Bellator or Ryzen or One or something, because this man Vinicius Oliveira has a 16 knockouts. You know how many he has in the UFC? One knockout in the UFC, and people talk like he's just he's this monster, man. Vinicius Oliveira, man, he's dangerous. He's a mean finisher, man. He's got a lot of power. He's a real athlete. He has one finish in the UFC. I mean, what are we talking about? No really big name wins. I mean, obviously a Bautista loss isn't that bad, but the man got ragdolled. To me, Bautista made it evident that Oliveira didn't belong in the bantamweight rankings, because for me, once you get to the lower weight classes, a fight between a number 15 and a number 8 should be closer than it would be at a heavyweight or a feather or even a middleweight or something. But Oliveira just got destroyed. I mean, it wasn't even that big of a bantamweight. That's what's crazy. Andre Fili's way bigger than him. It's weird. He was a big bantamweight, but he's not that big for a featherweight. Fili's got a way bigger frame than him now. It's weird. Anyway, but his best win was Saeed Nurmagomedov, basically, and he got beat by Bryce Mitchell. He's got goofy goober striking. He's got some weird striking stuff. I think, I don't know. Fili doesn't have bad losses. He's solid all around. He's fought really good fighters, and he's got more technical striking with a size advantage over Oliveira. I'm just still gonna take Oliveira. I hope maybe just going to featherweight will be good for him. He's an entertaining fighter, as much as I was crapping on him a minute ago. I think he'll maybe have the power to hurt Andre Fili. Andre Fili's been through a lot of wars, a lot of fights. I think he's just going to get hurt. Not easily, but I think he'll just take damage from punches. I think Vinicius Oliveira will probably eke out a decision over him. I don't think he's going to be able to finish Fili, but we'll find out. Up next, we got Melsik Bagdasaryan versus Murtazeli Magomedov. I'm not even going to... There's not much to talk about here, honestly. I think Magomedov is just going to kind of blow through Melsik. Melsik's not awful, but, Magomedov, trains with Khabib's team, so really good grappling. Probably a better striker than what I see from a lot of those guys based on the footage I've watched. Melsik Bagdasaryan isn't bad at striking. He's not bad at grappling. But I think Magomedov is just going to beat him up bad, put him away in probably like the second round. I don't think this is going to be that close. I say that. I got to stop saying that. I mean, what we've learned is that there's no guarantees in MMA, but just looking at the records, I mean, Melsik Bagdasaryan, his most recent loss is Jean Silva. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad loss, but I just think Magomedov is a better fighter than he is from all the footage I've seen. He's a better striker. He's faster, kind of hits harder. Definitely a better grappler. So I'm going to take Murtazeli Magomedov by a second round TKO probably. Also 100% finish rate. We love to see it, and I hope he keeps doing with that. A lot of these fighters, like I said, it seems like a very entertaining fight week. A lot of these guys have high finish rates, or they're at least just entertaining strikers. So, getting into our next fight, we have Haider Emil versus Christian Rodriguez. For some reason, every Rodriguez has to be an first initial Rod. We got D-Rod and C-Rod. But, yeah, both solid strikers. Haider Emil is probably faster and just better striker, I would say, than Christian Rodriguez by a bit. I'd give Christian Rodriguez the edge in the grappling, though. I think Haider Emil is just going to put crazy volume on him. I think he had like some 30-punch combo or something in a fight. That's why he's the Hurricane. Yeah, I think he's just going to... I don't think he's going to like blow through him. I could see this probably being a decision. I think he's just going to put volume on Rodriguez, get him against the cage, hurt him probably a few times. Rodriguez might get some takedowns and some control time, but I think Haider Emil is just going to win a damage-based decision. Getting into our next fight, we have Navajo Sterling versus Ian Cutelaba. Yeah, Navajo Sterling, it's not Allen. One of his fights with a Russian guy, I think, might have been Aslan. He was beating him up. He marked up his face in the first round pretty bad with straights. So straights are definitely there against Navajo Sterling. I think he tries too hard to be technical from all the fights I watched. Like, this guy is a 6'4", ripped, just monster. I feel like he needs to fight more like that. It was Urslan. Even Urslan beat up his face pretty bad with straights. I just think he needs to start fighting more. I mean, when he's in the clinch, he's throwing mean elbows. He's got good powers. He's got solid takedown defense and reversals. He's got some good volume, but he's just going to volume, leg kick, jab you at range. I think he needs to get in the pocket more and just like, start throwing elbows in the clinch and stuff, you know what I mean? I've seen a lot of people say maybe he's just afraid to lose his undefeated streak. I think he's kind of over that. He got a finish in his last fight, and he says he's going to try to get more. Ian Cutelaba is a guy that's there to brawl. He's there to fight, so I think this could be a finish for Sterling. I think I could totally... Why do I not have Ian Cutelaba's record there? Whatever. For the record, Ian Cutelaba has a record of 20-11 with one no contest, I believe. Or one DQ loss, I'm sorry. Wait, no. Maybe one no contest. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, they're both at really good gyms, don't get me wrong, but I think Navajo Sterling is just going to probably be jabbing him, kicking him from range. Ian Cutelaba might try to get in for a takedown or try to get into, scrap a little bit, and Sterling might get a knockout there because he has the power for it. Like I said, he has mean clinch work. He's good cage control and footwork. Even in the fights he doesn't finish, he generally outclasses them, although he has had some moments in the grappling where I go, but moving on to Ian Cutelaba, he also beat Urslan, but it was a split decision. He won with takedowns, and he kind of got beat up. Has some rough losses, but he's clearly a pretty good grappler. And he did beat Khalil Roundtree. I'm not going to say I'm a Khalil Roundtree hater. How he's in the top, I think 5 still is a mystery to me, and I think Magomed Ankalaev is going to starch that man. But Yeah, I think it's just going to be a Sterling, 29-28, 30-27, maybe a knockout if Ian Cutelaba down to scrap and get in there. But yeah, I think Navajo Sterling's definitely he's going to get ranked eventually, and I think we'll see him maybe fight for a belt one day. He just reminds me of Carlos Ulberg, where it's just like, yeah, he's good, he's entertaining. I just don't care because whatever. Sterling, it's this whole thing with being undefeated. I think it's overrated in MMA because, like, to me, it just means you haven't fought the right guys yet. A lot of times, outside of like Khabib, but even then, I think Khabib retired early. I think Sterling's got to get over that and just get in there and start scrapping and getting the knockouts. I mean, look at him. How does a guy like that only have one finish on his UFC fights? I don't know. I think he just needs to get in there, get in the pocket, and start scrapping a little bit more. But I'm going to take him by probably decision. Main event, man, this is the coin toss. And I still have the winner as Diego Lopez because I don't edit my presentation. I just copy and pasted a format. I'm not going to hold you. I thought I edited it. I guess it didn't save. I might have to censor Manel Kape's gynecomastia because holy crap. Anyway, getting into it. Kape is the fight-canceling king. He's at a good gym with a top-tier coach. He's fast, really fast, with a lot of power. Gets into fantastic flow states. He'll throw stuff he doesn't need to throw sometimes. I especially noticed that in the Horiguchi fight. He'll just randomly throw kicks that I'm like, what? Like, they'll just get him taken down. I don't think he'll do that against Horiguchi again, though. Solid defense overall against, like, most things. Kind of, like, really big sprawls, big reactions whenever he hits a sprawl, I've noticed. Good at, like, really good at getting in and getting out. He's an eye rake demon. Don't forget that either. Every time Almabayev would turn to get away from him, Kape would try to put his hand on his face to rake the eyes. Yeah, we might see a couple of those here, but I don't think Horiguchi is going to be running away. Kape's got a good chin. He mixes his shots well. He does seem unstoppable when he's feeling himself from what I saw. Like, he was just flowing on people. He's lost some of his highest level fights against like a Muhammad Makayev and Pantoja, so when the takedown threat's there's a problem for him, which is I think why Horiguchi is probably going to win by edging out a decision over him. Yeah, because Horiguchi's really fast, well-rounded striker. Only loss in the UFC is the DJ. Really good footwork. I love the way he moves around. Really low stance, so he's ready for a takedown. So Manel Kape's probably going to like know that threat's there, especially after their first fight. Great timing in counters and great timing in his counters and like when he'd push against Kape in their first fight. It was really funny in their first fight. Kape at one point like emoted on him on Horiguchi and then got dropped. This is really funny. He dropped Kape a few times. I think he completely outdid him in their first fight. And although it has been a long time, like, it's been almost a decade since that first fight. Kape's obviously not the same fighter, but it's also been 10 years for Horiguchi. And it's not like there's that big of an age gap between them either. Kape's a lot older than I thought he was. He's 32. Horiguchi's only 35. There's not that much of an age gap. It's not like, Horiguchi's an old man now. Yeah, his reaction time's not as good as it was then, but I still think he'll be able to, beat Manel Kape. Maybe not by a submission again. Probably by, I'd say, a decision. Maybe like a 49. Wow. 49-46, I'd say. I mean, Manel Kape can hurt him. He's got, like I said, a lot of power, a lot of speed. But Horiguchi just seems to be a good style against him. I think we're going to see Horiguchi fight for a belt. I'd love to see him versus Pantoja. That would be really hype. Both have really good gyms. I think this will be a really interesting fight. It is a coin toss, honestly. I'm not even that confident in my pick with Horiguchi. Kape might just be able to hurt him or put him down early. But, yeah, I'm really excited for this one. So just to go over my picks again, I'm going to pick Horiguchi by decision, Otari by decision, like by outpointing him with kicks and stuff from range, Santos by a women's 29-28 decision, Levon by KO in the second round, Michael Aswell Jr. by a late TKO in round 1, or maybe earlier TKO round 2. No, I'm not. I don't know why I said that for Aswell. I'm probably going to take Aswell by decision if I'm being honest. I don't know why I said TKO. I think I'm overthinking that one. Alan Nascimento by submission. Bia Mesquita by probably submission or ground and pound TKO. Maybe in the first round for her. Andre Lima by a late round 1, early round 2 TKO. Oliveira by probably a decision. Hyder Emil by decision. And Navajo Sterling by a decision. So that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching if you made it this far. Do not use my picks to make bets because there's a good chance I'm dead wrong and I don't want to be blamed for you losing money. I'll see you in the next one.